Sunday Times is leading with this report that a British spy suspect was stopped on a return flight from China with £4,000 in cash, apparently given to him by his handlers. What would you say to that?
First of all, I'm concerned that there is a lot of hysteria in Britain about China. From the Chinese perspective, China does not look at Britain as an enemy or as a competitor. Nothing like that at all. China looks at Britain as an important country to be engaged with for mutual benefit. China does not treat Britain as the top priority on its radar screen, and China doesn't have resources or time to spare for looking into Britain. China is very much focused on the United States, because the United States is worried that China will catch up with the United States, and China looks at China. The United States look at China as the pacing threat. Britain is not looking at China as a pacing threat. China is way ahead of Britain in almost all the other categories. So be assured, take some good rest. Britain is not on China's radar screen.
Well, you say that, but our intelligence chiefs have repeatedly warned about penetration by China. We've had cases of a lady working in the House of Commons who was apparently trying to gather intelligence, and whether these people were guilty technically of spying, they were clearly trying to gather intelligence for China. So there is an active, you may regard as a small fry, but there is still an active Chinese intelligence and spying operation into this country, isn't there?
Well, Britain has a tradition of rule of law and the presumption of innocence until convicted. So I hope you will put everything you suspect through this process of law, giving him or her due process, and don't reach a conclusion until you find a final verdict. From my side, I really do not see why China should put Britain on the radar screen at all. We are not contiguous to each other, for example. We are not neighboring country by land or by sea, and there is no need for China to look at Britain as if it is an enemy or adversary or a competitor. Nothing like that. Don't waste your time by misguiding yourself to believe that China has a big interest in Britain. No, we just have an interest to do tourism, for kids to get the education, to engage in normal trade, but nothing geopolitical at all between China and Britain.
And just finally, I've got someone describing here, one of our listeners, describing China as a malicious dictatorship when the stated aim is to bring communist rule worldwide by any means, and is prepared to use lying and falsification. Is that a fair description?
Absolutely not. China is the major force defending free trade for all mankind, not only for the Chinese people, but also for the British people. And ironically, also for the majority of the people in the United States. China is the champion of free trade. And China now defends peace for everyone in the world. China is building up its military capabilities, of course, but that's a measure up against the United States to make sure that the American government and the people in the United States will be more peaceful, to make sure and jingoistic. A war should not be an option between China and the United States, and it should never be considered by Washington as an option against China. In that sense, China is the staunch defender of peace in this world.
Victor Gao, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and thank you for pointing out that Deng Xiaoping, for whom he was an advisor, was the paramount leader of China at the time.